tied together, but there's like 5 of y'all. So what do y'all want? Tell me what y'all want. I happen to know a little bit about stuff, so.
I'm good with mental game, combat computer. I know that's something you wanted to talk about too, right?
Yeah, I'm good on
the
that.
same way on that.
So, all right, probably my biggest struggle that I have fighting in general, not even just tournaments outside of it, is I care extremely about like the things like I cruise all day. It doesn't bother me, right? It's, I want to make sure like everything's fresh and all that, right? So, my fear isn't necessarily my opponent, but it's more myself. So, like a lot of people told me just communicate, whether it be in sparring or tournaments, and oftentimes I'd rather just go ahead and take it off instead of try to jump around and figure out what happened. Or a lot of people will go to the ring and say, you make the call. Yeah, I just don't know what to do with that.
Okay, think on that one. All right, give me your names. I don't really know that well, and so everyone here can know.
I'm Shad.
Chef?
Shad. S-H-A-D.
Okay.
Dalos.
Kenji.
Giles.
Got it. Damos. Like my company brother Damos.
I thought I was the only one until I went to an event and I was like, hello, and someone's like, you're not that guy. And I went on the work and I looked at it like, oh.
It's okay, we call him California Davis. So you're right.
All right.
Yeah. All right, so when I talk about the mental game first, what we did at SKBC, I did it for combat computer, and it's the first time I really did this, and I think it's super important, I talked about this before, every year that I've done combat computer, but I really focused on hardcore this year, so I said that's the first time I've done it. And I think it's super important. So I started coaching basketball like 5 years ago, and I do this with my players as well. And so, and it's helped them, and I think it'll help you guys. And it's like, know thyself. You know, know thyself, know thy enemy, that whole thing. Well, know yourself is like hugely important, like kind of to what you're talking about. You have to understand what you bring to the game. First and foremost, like what you bring to the game. If you're going to optimize your fighting style, you have to understand what am I bringing, right? You have to understand what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what am I bringing to the game, right? In order for you to formulate any kind of plan at all, you have to understand first, what am I bringing? People, I'm going to cuss again. People fuck that up all the time. They do. They have no idea what they're bringing to the game. They don't know what their strengths are. They don't know what their weaknesses are. Or they do, but they don't think about it at all. So they don't, like, I ask people all the time, what were you thinking when you went into that fight? I don't know. What? How is that even a thing? I ask my players, what were you thinking in that play? I don't know, coach. Come sit with me on the bench for a while, because we're not going to have that. Like, you need to be processing and thinking. Like, you can't just go blindly into your fights. So the first part of that is understanding you all the time. I know the things that I'm very good at in fighting. I understand my base game. And why this is important, I'll tell you, when you're having a bad day, right? When you're fighting and you're having a bad day, the first thing you should do is go straight to your strengths. And it's the last thing people do when they're having a bad day. They start reaching for the worst shit. They're like, oh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try. No. Hone in and focus and go to your base strong game. Like, bring it home. Bring it to the safe place, right? But you have to understand what that is first. Like, now that I'm saying it in your head, you're all going, oh, this is the things that I'm really good at, right? That. What's in your head right now? Bring that home. Make that you're like, okay, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, right? And whatever your weaknesses are, like that, you're processing that too. You should be working on those all the time and trying to make them better in the right situations, in the right places, right? You should be turning weaknesses into strengths, but in the right situations. But when you go into a fight, when you're making a plan, when you're fighting against people, remember 90% of Vanguard you spend fighting the same 20 people or whatever your park is, right? So if you want the game to be fun, which you should, then you optimize against those 20 people. That's the truth of the matter. Like, you want to be optimal against those people because you want the game to be fun. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. People forget that all the time. They quest for this warlord thing, which Charlie's getting, right? That's awesome, by the way. Great accomplishment, but it's a piece of paper. Okay, right? At the end of the day, cool, right? We're going to have a big speech about it. Super proud of Charlie for getting it, but at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper. It's an accomplishment. The reward, we're giving away a little bit of the speech, so I'll get to hear a preview, right? The reward is the journey, right? The reward is the effort that you put into it. The reward is you, and that's what I'm talking about. The reward is the understanding you. Every day you get to get up and know yourself. Work on your weaknesses, know your safe place. So when you go into a fight, know that. Like, know it. Be kind to yourself too, right? Don't put unrealistic expectations on yourself when you go into a fighting situation. Right? My friend Diego is the worst about this. Diego cannot beat me very often, right? And he gets very frustrated with himself when I beat him. And I'm like, Carlos, I practice more than you do. What do you expect? Or I did, right? When I was practicing 3 times a week and he wasn't practicing that much. Like, and I'm also me. Like, I'm just better than he was at the time, right? Like, what? You can't expect to go in against someone that is better than you are. Like, you have to be realistic with yourself, right? You have to be fair to yourself and your own mental health, right? You can't go into a tournament and be like, I have this as my goal and make it unrealistic, right? This is my point, right? Make realistic goals that you can accomplish that are achievable, okay? And then boom, achieve that one. And then make a little bit harder goal, and then achieve that one. And a little bit harder goal, and achieve that one. Like, you can't go, I'm going to get Warlord in 6 months. It's stupid. And it's bad for your mental health. It's not going to do anything except frustrate you and irritate you, and you'll pick a bad path. Like, maybe you'll become a cheater. Like, don't do that, right? Like, you'll do bad things. Your mental health suffers. You won't want to play anymore. That's the point. Right? Again, we're talking about focusing on yourself, like combat computer stuff, mental health stuff. No one really talks about this, right? They talk about the path to warlord stuff and all that, but they don't talk about the health of the fighter. I don't hear people talk about that, and they really should, because becoming good at anything can be very unhealthy if you don't do it the right way. And that's why I'm telling you guys, like, make sure you're doing it the right way. Like, if you watch my streams at all, I focus on positivity a lot, right? I shit talk people a lot too, but I focus on positivity a lot, right? You want to be in environments that are positive. You want to create environments that are positive. You want to get better, right? You want to destroy people so that they get better. Like, you don't want to throw fights. You will never see me throw a fight. You will never see me fight down. I don't do that. I wreck people if I can. I wreck them, I destroy them. They came to my fighter practice for that reason. People would not come to practice if I wasn't coming. That's a true thing. If I wasn't going, attendance would go down. If they knew I was out of town, attendance would be down. If they knew I was coming, attendance would be way up. That's just what they wanted to come, and they knew that I beat them a lot, but they wanted them. They want you to fight at your very best. Remember, I told you we were going to talk about this, so I'm just building it right into the class. You have to fight at your very best because it helps them be better. You can't fight down to them because it's disrespectful, right? Working on something is different, like building in different skill sets, whatever, that's different. When you fight down, people know. They figure it out and they know, and they're like, oh, you don't respect me as a fighter, right? Now, practice has to be time when you're practicing on things, and that's while I'm working on this different shot. I would get beat a lot. Like when I was working on one love, first time, first working on that shot, I got my ass kicked a ton working on that. Because it's hard figuring out new shots. I died a lot. They knew I was working on something, so they got a lot of wins there. Like, you'll see my face when it's time to start wrecking people. It changes. They know. Okay. So that's just the thing. But create a space where it's competitive, it's positive, you can grow and learn, and the people around you can grow and learn. That is huge. You want that because the places where great fighters came from, lost them. We have. I mean, we were a wrecking ground to each other too. Like early 90s, we destroyed each other. But we were competitive. We were brothers. We were competitive with each other. But we were mostly positive with each other as well. And what we turned it into, I pushed this a lot. When it became with the streams that you guys saw in the dojo and all that, was even more positive and more focused on the coaching and the teaching and the learning. New Mexico, with what Isaac and Eric did out there, they put a lot of good fighters on, right? That was another place that there was a lot of positivity, you know. Jamie and Morpheus up on the side, they got it figured out there. They got it figured out. You want to create places like that. I mean, there's other places, I just told you the ones I know. You know, you want to create places like that. So it only takes a couple people. But I'm just telling you, you want to be competitive. You don't want to fight down. But you want to be positive. Okay, questions about that?
I took a month break and I came back and I was really afraid of like the environment I was going to come back to because it was such a different building experience for me years ago versus what I came to now. And I find that it's so much more helpful talking about creating a positive environment and like learning atmosphere. I came back to that. It wasn't so much of like yeah, like I appreciate that aspect, but coming back into having that mentality balanced with a coaching atmosphere. It was a beautiful thing to come back to.
We focused very hard on making it. And I mean, we focused very hard on that. OGN was the organization that I founded, and I mean, we changed the fighting culture. I didn't do it by myself. I say we because everyone that was kind of down with OGN as a movement changed the fighting culture. But that had a huge part. SKBC kind of started a movement, but then that really like pushed it over because the fighting culture was terrible. It was really poor.
Yeah.
The whole get
He caught the end of that too.
yeah, the whole get better thing, and like that was not good. And I was never really part of. I never was really part of that. I never really got down with that thing. I should talk all the time. I still do, but I never really got. I never felt like I just wasn't raised that way. I didn't feel like it was good. Didn't really feel like that was. But I think what you came back to is what it is now. And again, a little bit of the speech. I want to see more of that. The people that are becoming warlords now, they should carry that forward. It should be way better than it was. It should continue to keep it. So, all right. So, know yourself. You have to know yourself. Understand what you're bringing to the fight, and it changes. So you have to do self-checks. That's the thing. Like I modified my fighting style heavily at least 4 times a year, right? Because of injuries, because of the meta changing in the game, because of equipment changing in the game, just things like that. I used to,
I was just saying, can you give us some examples of that?
Sure, I was just about to.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I used to fight like a very hard press style, like super press in your face style. I can't do that anymore because I can't press off my back foot anymore because of my back injury. So I can't press that hard anymore. like even my stance has changed now. Like you'll see my hand go behind my shield. I didn't used to put my hand behind my shield. I did that for a couple of reasons. It disguises where I'm going to go. You can't see from my hand where I'm going to throw my shots. It protects from a lot of these shots that I taught people like recently. It protects from that. If you do that particular position. Yeah, that was a significant change in stance. I did that like a year and a half ago. I think I changed that to that. But I used to press very, very hard. I used to use shorter swords, even like a 33, because I would press that close, so I'd get like.
I use about a 32-inch, but
yeah.
So.
If you press, it's a fine length, like you're in people's space, like I would get like on top of people all the time. It's good. It's an okay fighting style because most phone fighters are not used to it, and they're very uncomfortable with it. So if you get good at it, they don't really know how to deal with it. So I did enjoy it. I can still do it some, but it takes a lot of it. And I can't push out. I guess I can't push out. But I used to fight like that. I used to spin a lot more.
I was going to say, you spin a lot more.
Yeah. I don't spin. I don't, especially don't do it much anymore. I do a lot more backspins now. I think my back doesn't like that spin as much, and that prevents me from moving down. So like I would be like in here a lot more, like down in this space a lot more from that level change. I don't think that's so good for myself. I would say I used to fight more high too, and I do a lot more hip, a lot more down here in the hip than I used to. And my style became a lot more feint based, right? And a lot more combo based than the last. So it was a lot more press, bam, bam, like in your face, and then for a while it was kind of reach and high, you know, more what you would think like Harry does, Arthon. Yeah, more kind of that, and then now it's very like what more people associate with that, which is very body feint based, yeah, more kind of but yeah, you have to you'll adapt and change, but you have to do that self check and shift based on sometimes the weight changes, that'll affect you too. Those kind of things will make a difference. Body changes. So definitely check in, see how you're doing, where you're at, where to know yourself. Be kind to yourself thing is very, very stressful. Very, very, very important. If you need to not fight, I've told my squires to not fight for a period of time. Stop fighting. Stop going to camp guard for a period of time. It's no longer healthy for you to go.
I had a friend of mine that told me to learn how to lose before starting, like going into tournaments and trying to get warriors.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know how to lose, when you do lose, it's going to hit you really hard.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, anyone who's very good, who has become very good at anything, will tell you they learn more from losing than they did from winning. They learn more from losing. Like, most of my big developments came from getting my ass kicked. Like my favorite shot outside of my flash. My favorite shot, the AK-47, that came, it's called AK-47, it stands for Arthon Killer 47. Right, why do you think it's called that? It's a counter for him kicking the ever-living shit out of me. And I'm like, okay, one of his favorite shots, you know, is straight here, right? That's why I keep the roof on the house. He didn't know that. Like why I stand like this even when my sword's here. Why the roof's on the house. Still moving, right? Or his favorite shot when he just comes across. He'll come across like this. Like kind of high cross, then he'll go deep. Alright, and I'm block here, right, and he'll get off of it. So what I did was I was like, I got to figure out how to get you in this. What am I going to do when you go pop, pop? And so it was just a level change, right? So it's a combo. The AK-47, it's a quick opener, the original one. I'm variations down there. Quick opener, board side, shoulder, brilliant. Boom. And then when he would go to make that transition, I would just right to his hip, right? So, and everything, even that step back, so I would block his counter and then boom, right to his hip. That's where that shot came from. But it was developed as a counter to what he wanted to do. By the way, that shot killed everyone. Beautiful shot for anyone. But it was built by him kicking my ass all the time. That's a point. Like, you learn more from your failures.
It's actually a shot that someone taught me from Rivermore or showed me, and I still don't have it down 100%. So I'm still working on that specific shot, so I want to learn that.
Oh, the AK-47?
Yes.
Someone showed you that?
Yeah, it was.
I didn't tell you the proper name. Yeah, I came. That shot, like literally, when I came up with it,
I think it's Tisco that showed it to me.
oh yeah,
Earlier this year in the spring.
I've been teaching that for a long time because I came up with that like 94-ish. Yeah, Harry, me and Harry have been fighting for a long time. I started in '89, but me and him specifically have been fighting for a long time. He whooped the ever living shit out of me for a very, very long time. And you know, that's another thing. Like, that's a quick story about creating an environment. He was very positive all the time. Like, he's had my back forever. But I knew he would fight down. And my counter to make him not do that, because I felt very disrespected. Right? I'm like, don't fucking fight that. He's too nice. Awesome dude. So nice. So he would feel bad about winning too much. That's just how he is. It's his personality. So my counter to that was, I would shit talk the ever living for real. Like, when there's two very good points in this story. Win 1 fight out of 10. And I want you guys to do this too, not this shit talk. Win 1 fight out of 10 and pat yourself so hard on the back. Like, enjoy that one victory. If you get your ass kicked 10 times but you win one, I want you to celebrate the hell out of that one.
Even if it's luck.
We take those.
But like, for him, I would beat him 1 time, he would whoop everyone shit 9 times, I'd be like, fuck yeah, bitch, take that shit, motherfucker. He'd look at me like, I'm like, you just got your ass fucking whipped. So he would get mad a little bit, but I had to do that. He never even figured it out. I had to do it to keep him pissed off so he would keep fighting me for real, otherwise he would back off. And I didn't want him to back off, I wanted him, like, I would not get good if he started backing off. So bring your fucking A game, don't fucking like I'm trying to get good. Like I don't want bullshit. So I would just rile him up. Like, he wouldn't really get mad, but he would keep wanting to shut up, dude. Shut me up then. Shut me up. But I came up with some good smack. My favorite one, I told him, man, I lit your ass up like a Christmas tree with presents underneath. And then that asshole, 10 minutes later, he didn't even wait till the next day. He told someone else my line 10 minutes later on the other side of the bitch field. I'm like, I can hear you. I just taught you that line. At least wait till the next day. He's like, no, that line was too good. I stole it. Shameless. But yeah, so that's 2 good lessons there. 1, don't fight that much. 2, celebrate your victories. Definitely take care of yourself down there too.
Just to add on that, don't fight down. So let's say you fight down somebody, right? And then they beat you because you're fighting down. And then let's say they learned something from beating you when you're fighting down. They didn't really learn anything. They learned a bad habit more than likely because you're fighting down.
Yeah.
And they learned how to beat somebody that's not trying. So they're going to go do that to somebody else. It's not going to work.
Yeah, you've done. Yeah, you've done a disservice. Yeah. You've done yourself a disservice because the thing is, the practice like you play thing, right? If you teach yourself at all to not give 100%, then you learn, it's a learned habit, right? You learn to now not do that, right? You learn that it's okay sometimes to not give 100%, right? That's why coaches are always on people's ass to run hard during practice. We don't walk on the court. Like all that shit that coaches say that people think is dumb. And maybe coaches, we just say all that dumb shit. But that one's a good one. Like, don't walk on the court. Don't walk during the drills. Run during the drills. Give 100%. Like, because it's a mental thing. You teach yourself how to play. That's why when you see me out there, look at my face when I'm fighting. I'm almost a different person.
It's scary.
You put on a different, like once the gloves go on and with intention, like when the gloves go on for a purpose, and I know I'm going to fight, when the shield strap goes on, it's it. I almost become someone else.
I said that to Nate earlier today. I was like, part of fighting James, man, he's got that RBF so hard that it's scary.
Oh yeah, and sometimes like the first 3 fights, it doesn't even happen until like, and then it clicks in like this different person. You know, like the Mamba mentality of, you know, who Kobe Bryant is, like that he would click in and then that's it. Like you just, boom. You become the fighter version of yourself, whatever.
Once you get warmed up and you get into your zone.
You got to, and that's exactly it. And that's where we're going next. You know, meditation. And speaking of Kobe Bryant, he said that meditation was, if you took away all of his other mental exercises, that meditation was the most important one. It was the most important one. You would take away the rest of the mental game stuff that he did, and meditation was the one he would not do. So, if you guys don't use meditation as a tool yet, I would highly encourage you to. There's tons of apps out there that have it now. I personally use Headspace. That one has a fee, a cost, a yearly cost. There's free ones out there. I like Headspace a lot. But find whatever you're going to use, find it and use meditation because it's an invaluable. It'll help you a ton. Because then you learn, it'll teach you how to get into that zone and your performance will get much better. It'll help you click into that space. Where, you know, like some days you feel like, man, I can't lose. Like I'm there. How can I just always be here where I just don't, right? Well, it'll teach you to at least get into that space more. That's what meditation is. It's not that you'll never lose, but it will help you get to that where I can just zone in on the fight.
It's funny you say that because when it was right after Morpheus got his World title, I approached him and I asked him and said, when you got that streak, when you were fighting in that bear pit, what was going through your head in every match? And he was like, honestly, nothing but focusing on the fight in front of me. Right? Yeah. So it absolutely makes sense to me.
Yeah. Zone in. Okay. As far as like just make sure my record. Let me take this real quick. Hello?
Sort of built on things he was saying about getting in the zone and whatnot. I have a couple things that you that like my idea is it focuses me on my like this is my goal. My brain is because it's hard to you start having all this anxiety about thinking about this stuff, thinking about that. And just like the spin that I always do with my sword, that just it reminds me of being on the ditch field and fighting. It brings back that memory of like when I've been in the zone, when I've been fighting. And so those little things just kind of put me there and put me in that same spot.
Thank you for that.
All right, now the next part. Know your enemy. Right? Know your enemy.
handedness.
What?
Handedness.
Handedness, yes. Are
I
they
didn't
right-handed?
hear
left-handed?
the question. It's,
Oh yeah. What should you be looking at when you approach a fight? Brand new opponent, not someone you don't know or someone you don't know, right? You're approaching a fight. What should you look at? And he said handedness. That's number one. Yes.
I typically watch. I keep my line of sight on center body and use peripherals, and I monitor. I watch how they move. I watch how they walk. I watch how they swing their posture, and I try to get an idea of what level of fighter they are, especially if I haven't seen them fight at all. And sometimes I can't get a read on them at all. So it's a skill that I'm slowly developing, that I've been developing since I started fighting. So I noticed that the skilled fighters move differently than the newer players. So I don't know. It's something that I do whenever I approach.
Okay.
I would say footwork.
Footwork.
What they're leading with.
Okay. What foot is forward? Yes, that's important. What else?
It sounds weird, but how much information they don't give. Because like you can sort of judge how good someone is based off how close you are, and if they're just immediately holding, like in single, they're just holding their denial guard out, you're like, okay, I kind of know what's up. But if they don't give you much until you approach or until you initiate something with a fake or anything, then you kind of know, okay, this guy's, they are very confident of what's going on in this exchange here of information seeking, but we can't hit each other. I find that to be a big tell of how much effort you're gonna have to put into this really quick. Like it's a good way to judge how good someone is off the start.
Yes. Okay, that's very good. Okay. So without knowing them, some things you should look at to gauge if they're serious and they're good. Their footwear. Are they wearing, athletic kind of shoes? Their gloves. What kind of gloves are they wearing? Are they serious about fighting? These are just tells, give you some amount of information.
Are they wearing
Like,
fighting company garb?
well, if they have a torch on, you might. Companies can tell you some things for sure if they have fighting company garb. Jersey stuff sometimes can tell you. I mean, that kind of stuff can tell you, but like outside of garb stuff, I just look at footwear, gloves, their gear, right? Like what kind of sword, what kind of cover. That can kind of tell you what kind of shield or swords that they have. Length is very important. If you can't look at a sword and tell if it's a 36 or a 34 or a 35, at least like kind of be able to tell, you should learn that skill. You should be able to say, like I can generally look at a sword and go, oh, you're fighting with an Arthon special, which means a 38 inch. That's how you fight swords, right? Like, or oh, you're fighting with a 36, or oh, you got like a 35 and a half. It doesn't have to be exactly like, you should at least be able to see, oh, that's a 36, or oh, that's a 34, like a 34 and a half. Those are significant things because you'll know based on what you have in your hand. If you have like a 1 inch reach advantage, that's huge. And you should be able to tell that you have that and know. You should be able to tell them how that and know. Which means also their reach, right? Look at their arm length, not just their height, which is important, but their arm length, right? How much wingspan do they have? What's their reach? Because these are all things that you can exploit. Their height beginning is important. Okay. What foot they have forward, and then how when they move, do they like to put their weight, right? Like how they move. When you see how I step, I don't take my feet off the ground very far, because you're not going to exploit me in my movement. But people who do take their feet off the ground far, what you should be figuring out, now we're straying a bit off, but not really. I'll just teach y'all some general shit. Like, what you should be figuring out for people who move like this is counter timing them and their steps, right? Because when I do this, what happens? Where's my weight now?
Back leg.
100%. Where is it?
Front leg.
100%. So now you just got to counter time when they're moving, right, to do that. When I move, it looks like this, right? Because I'm not giving you any time, ideal time to attack. I'm not. And you can move however the hell you want. I'm just telling you why I did that. Because in top tier fighters, now we're talking about the top of the game. Know them.
Yeah.
They will exploit you for doing it. You gotta watch it. When you're not in range, sure, kind of do what you want. But once you're in range, everything changes. You gotta be careful with your movement. But look at how they move, how they step. If it's like this, then right.
Where do you keep your eyes to get the most information? Are you more like chest level, or do you just let them kind of drift?
I move them around. I kind of throw people off with it. It just depends. Really, I can look people dead in their eyes, and as long as I can see their feet, then I'm prepared. So, some people get put off when I'm like smiling and looking them in the eyes, and they're like, "What the hell are you thinking?" Like they're very worried about what I'm thinking, which they shouldn't be too worried about. They should be worried about what they're doing. But they're very concerned about that. They think I have some kind of reason. I probably do have some kind of reason, but they're very worried about it. It's irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like they can't help it if I do. Like it's kind of be in your own space. Like don't worry about what they're. You can't do anything. You can send a missile. I guess.
I like doing a little eye flick right behind them, and then because they're like somebody, and then engage on them right away.
But yeah, wherever you need to look so you can see their feet is what you need to be able to do. Got the answer to your question. You need to be able to see their feet because that's where the intelligence is. People can throw all kinds of feints here, right? They'll fake around this stuff. Very few people throw footwork feints that much. Yeah, that shit all the time. But very few people, like you're not going to see that much. They'll do basic things like that. Very few people throw like, I'm going to throw a backspin, footwork feints, and all that. Very few people do that.
When we were fighting earlier, it felt like footsie in Street Fighter. Because there was a moment where I saw your feet and I was like, ooh, and I just didn't like any. It was like, I don't want to. No, we're gonna do this like 5 minutes later. I don't like any of that.
Yeah. Very few people throw footwork feints though. So usually you can watch people's feet, and then the other thing is, if they dig down on their knee, like the weight goes heavy on their front foot, that's another time to exploit them. Like if you're wondering when I decide to open, it's when they make mistakes with their weight, generally speaking.
Oh, that makes sense.
When I think that they've made a mistake with their weight somehow, or usually like you can tell when someone's about to go, because they'll do this. Like they'll drop their weight a little bit too long, right? So you're like, you fought me a bit, so you're probably like, what makes him decide when to do something? I kind of get a feel of when someone's about to do something when they make a little bit of a mistake with their weight than I would. So, yeah, pay attention to how they approach with their weight, with their movement. We talked about gloves, we talked about footwear. Though there's a weird thing now. A lot of people are wearing protective headgear, helmets and stuff like that. It's a bit, they need to do it. I'm not mad at them for it. But if you're a precision sniper with your shots, like I feel I am, and they have an extra protective area from their helmet, just make note of that. Because, it will block their shoulders. Again, it's not like it's illegal or anything, but like you have to adjust your shots out a little bit and take that into account, because now that shoulder shot, it needs to come further out. Like I really have to adjust my shots.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you really have to take, I mean, that's extreme. No, I don't think they can wear that. But yeah, you really have to take note of that though when people have certain headgear on to move your shots over a bit so you don't lose a fight because of that. Because you can, and in a tournament you only get maybe one shot. And now your shoulder shot that would have been a win hits them in that helmet, and even if it just brushes that helmet and hits their shoulder, they're going to say head, and now maybe you get hit in that exchange and you've lost, because of that. So pay attention to things like that. Little things like that matter. And So I think that's the longest one. When you approach a fight that's looking at someone that you should do. If you have no time to watch them. Now, if you have time to watch them first, and this is something I highly recommend you do. And I'll tell you my favorite Peter the Quick story. Right? Peter's my boy. He's like, me and him are awesome friends. Right? It's when Spendthrift first brought him to SKBC. The first time he came to SKBC, he was ditching. He was whooping the shit out of it. All the instructors, like, no one had seen him before. And he's whooping a lot of people. And I'm sitting down and I'm watching him. I hadn't fought yet. I'm laughing. And I'm like, and Harriet's watching me, and I'm like, I'm sitting there for about 15 minutes and I'm laughing. I'm tying my shoes, whatever, take my time, stretch, do whatever, like, take your time. And I'm like, hey, Harriet. It spins in my ear, blah, 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 Peter the Quick. And I'm like, yeah. Tie my shoes. I'm like, hey, Harry, watch this. I go out there, and I whoop the living shit out of him. He'd never seen me before. It's not completely fair to him. He had no read on me, but I'm like, oh, I got this. Just destroyed him. But, like, if you have the time to look at someone and find out their flaws, right, why wouldn't you? Like, definitely take that time. Like, people are dumb. They rush right into the ditch. They're like, man, I'm gonna rush right in, I'm gonna go put my gear on, blah, 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 jump in and go fight. Take 15 minutes and look at the people in the ditch and go, oh, yep, there's this, yeah, there's that. I mean, I was talking to him earlier about Morpheus. I'm like, oh, dude slips his shield all the time, his shoulder's exposed. Like, he doesn't have good board discipline. I'm not picking on him, I don't know him that well. Like, but he doesn't have, he exposes his board shoulder. Like, not early. Early, his posture's good, stands up tall. Give him a little bit of time for the engagement to happen, and his board will come down, and you can hit him board shoulder. Especially if you throw like one little jab fake at it, boom, you can just go board shoulder. But at the opening, his posture's good, he keeps his board high. But after the engagement starts, look board shoulder. But I watched for 5 minutes or so. He's just a 2-day example I saw to give you all that. Just watching people, seeing tendencies, you know what I mean? Find information like that. So is he someone you fight a lot?
Yeah, just thinking like if I play because they're so tall,
Yeah.
like if you thread the low lines, they start to drift.
Yeah.
And it's just getting that sort of setup proper where you can punish it is at times the difficult part because they are so tall if they stand up. I feel like I have to be much closer than I realize I'm starting to get that now. That's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can even go, I would go tight with it, go here, pop over,
Yeah.
you hit with that too. I mean, because the board slips so much, like, if I thought, I don't know them that well, is it they, them, he, okay. I don't know him that well, so I don't know if he would want to hear my advice or not, but yeah, he needs to work on his board discipline, keeping his posture high, keeping his shoulders back. It will become, if he fights good people a lot, it will become. It will. If it isn't already, it will become. Here's what I would say. I don't know. And I don't generally just give people unsolicited advice. People have their own.
They're only going to listen if they want to listen.
Right, and I don't just go up to people and go, hey, you should fix this problem. If they want to hear what I have to say. I'm already introverted. People don't believe that. You can tell the whisper. Okay. So, yeah. Get a read on people. You know, look for things like that. Look for their board tendency. Does their board slip? What do they do? What do they do when the action starts? Right? What do they do? How do they react to feints? How do they react to movement? How do they react when they're pressed? How do they react when they're going away? What are their tendencies as far as openers? Right? What are their tendencies when they're defense? Right? Like after the opening, right? What are their comfortable spots? What do they do if they really want to win, right? Like, oh, they just lost 3 fights in a row. Now I know they really want to win. What are they going to go to? What's their safe spot? Like, what do I know that they think their safe spot? Harry, if I know Harry really wants to win, I know what he's coming after. I promise you I know what he's coming after. If I know Jamie really wants to win, I promise you I know the show is coming. I already know. Like, so that means what? You're ahead of the game because you know what they're coming at you with, right? When that look hits their face and you know they want to win, then you know, oh, here it comes, right? Here comes that shot.
Oh, so you usually have pretty good posture. When you want to win, your hand block's really good because of the do, so your board moves a lot. And so like you kind of, I think really cool. You put your weight forward, and you're going to almost block strike through me and actively hand block me. So if I throw like a tertiary shot to your shoulder or to your hip, kind of that's coming. So it's more about staying in this oddly enough counter to like this centerline pocket, where it's almost like a single sword fight, like a spot in the arm. And that is very frustrating because I hate that. And so it's like, no, I want to get these nice, pretty hips and these shoulders, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna throw into it because I see it. Like I can hit it, and then I even know not to do it, but I just do it anyway because I think I can.
Yeah. So there you go. But yeah. So know their tendencies. And know, like I said, know what they're coming with. Understand how they react when they want to win. Talked about what they do with their defense, what they do on the exit, what their openers are. Yeah, feints that they like to use. Definitely pay attention to that. And if they actually, a lot of assholes throw feints that they never actually even throw the shot for. And then put that in your encyclopedia like, I don't have to react to that at all because you never even throw that shot. So why do I care about that feint? Which, by the way, don't throw feints if you know you got. Throw the damn shot sometimes. Right? You can't throw a feint that you never throw a shot for, right? Like, anyone smart's going to figure that out. I mean, I guess you fight all dumb people and carry on, citizen, but like, don't come to me to learn how to fight dumb people. I'm trying to teach you how to fight smart people, right? Like, you have to throw, a feint should be what? A shot that didn't happen, right? So the threat has to be real. It has to be a real threat. Like, so if people don't react to your feint, you know what you should do? Hit them, right? Like this. This is a feint. You know what it's a feint for? Sword side hip. If you don't want to react to it, guess what I'm going to do? Hit you in the damn hip. If I'm like, and you're like, oh, I don't care. Okay, don't care then. Don't care from the back of the line. I'm through with you. Like, you don't have to move your board. Oh, you have to move it to the back of the line. We're through with this conversation. You understand what I mean? Like, this whole movement is sword side hip. If you decide you don't care, I also don't care. And we cannot care together, but you can do it from back there, right? Like, but that's a feint. It's a feint because once I'm here, now I'm here. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I come here, now I'm here, right? But if you don't want to move your board at all, cool. It's sword side hip. You understand what I'm saying? This, hockey staff feint. You don't have to move your board at all or react to it. I can happily stab you in the damn pocket. We're fine. Or, it's here. You understand what I'm saying? Like, everything should be a shot you can throw. Right? I guess don't pummel. That's the one exception. I do that pummel thing. I don't pummel someone in the face. That's the exception. But otherwise, finish. That tirade came from talking about know your people. Growth, understand their fakes. Right. Understand their fakes. And again, they're throwing fakes that they don't. They don't actually ever throw a shot. Don't laugh at them. Literally laugh at them. That's what I would do. If they start doing stuff outside of range too, knock it down. You don't have to do that. All this monkeying around outside of range.
Not real.
Yeah. I mean, you were doing a bit of that to me, and what did I do? Chat.
Absolutely nothing. I was like, well, shit.
Yeah. I'm like,
I was hoping I get some information. Like, I was a brick wall, and it's like, oh, that's helpful.
yeah. Okay. And?
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna have a conversation at some point, like, not from out there though. I don't care about that, right? So, questions about that? I said a lot of crap, so I want to make sure I give you all. Jump in whenever you want, like, questions.
This is going back a bit. When you're building your game or your understanding of yourself, how do you deal with people that are as good as you are in, let's say, your A game? Is that just developing like a B and C, or is it just trying to see if you can have technical what you're better at? So if I'm really good at, like, let's say, reaching out and sniping, say, and they're also really good. Is it just we both do the thing until one of us makes a mistake, or is it acknowledge that, be like, okay, I'm just trying to close it and another time?
Now you're talking about building a plan to fight somebody?
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we'll get to that. No, that's fine. We'll get to that. Yeah. We're about to get to that right now.
If you're talking about things, I'm currently trying to work on how to throw them better because I don't think I really sell the thing good enough so everyone sees it coming. So that's something that I'm working on is like trying to throw it to make the person believe that the thing is the actual shot.
You have to put more body into it. Without even seeing you fight, I bet you're not putting enough body into it.
Okay.
I bet you 100% that's the problem. It can't just be this. Only dumb people are going to fall for that.
Yeah.
It has to be body.
Okay.
No one believes this. No one good believes that. There's no reason for them to. When I showed you this fake, what did I do?
Through from the hip.
Yeah, my whole body shifted. My whole body shifts because no one's going to believe that. Why would they? This is nothing. This means zero. If I did this to you and you moved your board, I would be disappointed. I would be disappointed. Like, I mean, I would fight you, but I would be like, no. We're not going to have a good conversation. I'm going to beat you a lot, and it's not.
You'd be a very
fun.
flinchy person.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a fun conversation. I love fun conversations. Like, I don't mind losing. I love fun conversations. So like easy fights are. It's just, I only have like 30 or my back only lets me fight for like 30 or 40 minutes a day now. So easy fights are. It's not.
That's fair.
But yeah, put your body into it. Yeah, bring your whole body into it, and your face will be there. Okay, now we talked about know yourself, know your enemy. Okay, and with that information, now what we want to do is build a plan. Okay, we can do a lot more drilling and stuff in a real class. It's just a few of us. We'll just talk about how you do this. I used to, just for fun, because I have a very good memory, so I didn't need to do it, but I would build spreadsheets, right? Plans, where this goes to this, this goes to this, this goes to this, this goes to this, right? I had one for Harry. If this, boom, 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 all the way down. If he does this, I do this, I do this, I do that, I do that. Right? So this goes to your question, right? We're both good at this. But what if this? You know, it just depends on what happens, right? It's not we both go and we do the thing until someone wins. There's a lot of things that happen before that particular thing, right? Like, what if he steps this way, then I do this. Well, what if he steps that way? Okay, so you have to build a plan, right, with the information that you have. You want to put your most optimal weapons forward. You want to give yourself the best chance. And the way you do that in the situation. Like we'll just use like you're good at a reach thing, they're good at reach thing, right? So you need to get them on their back foot somehow. That would be that. So I need to, I'm gonna step right a bit. I'm stepping right. And the minute that I see their weight go on their back foot, then I'm gonna go forward a bit, right? And if they step back, I'm gonna take note of that, right? And their weight's on their back foot. Now I know that that's probably what they're gonna do next time. Now I have that as a tendency. Now I didn't do anything that first time because I wasn't sure that's how they're gonna react. As someone you might already know this. Now I'm gonna go in next time. Now that I know they're gonna step back and put their weight on that back foot, now I'm gonna go in, right? And maybe I do it a couple times to make sure that's what they're gonna do. Be careful with that though, because people who are smart go, okay, the third time they're gonna try to take advantage of me for what I just gave them 2 pieces of information for. So I'm changing it. For sure, the third time I'm changing it. I'm doing something. Like they think I'm gonna do that again. I ain't doing that again. I'm doing something else. So you have to be careful. But then you go in, if they put that weight on that back foot again, now you go to very extensively reach and use your reach where you're not putting yourself in much danger, but you're getting them because their weight's on their back foot, and you understand what I'm saying, you're using it. So you built a plan, right, to exploit in the course of what you're doing. So you knew that you both had equal footing, but you figured out how to optimize like your chances. You understand what I'm saying? But in general, what you want to do is have an A and a B, maybe a C. Okay? What you first need to do before you can do any of this is remember how you're fighting. For combat computer, you have to remember what happened in the fight. And I mean details. I stepped right, they pressed in, I switched leads, I put my weight too much on my back foot, I died because they hit me in my hip. Right? I died because I got hit in the shoulder isn't enough. I died because I got hit in the shoulder isn't enough. If someone comes and asks you why you died, you should be able to in detail explain it. If you cannot do that, then you need to be able to develop that skill set. And the way to do that is take a notebook to fighter practice. And at least 4 or 5 fights in the night, ones that you lost and ones that you won, take a break, write down what happened. Say, hold on, I need a second. Write down every detail that you remember that happened in that fight. Pick 5, 6 fights in a night, both ones that you won and ones that you lost. And do that. After you've done that enough times, you won't need to write it down anymore. You'll have that skill set where you can recall it anymore. Right? Then off of that information, you can reverse engineer and make plans. Right? And you'll start seeing your own tendencies too. Oh, I get killed because right now if I ask you why you get killed, I dip my shield too much. Okay, but why do you do that? I don't know. Do that and you'll figure out why you do that. Oh, I put my weight on my back foot too much, and then I buy this fake a little bit too much and I overreact because I put myself in this bad situation because my footwork is bad. You'll figure it out if you start reverse engineering why. But right now you think, oh, I just overreact with my shirt, but you don't understand, like there's a lot more to it, but you don't know what it is, right? It's part of know yourself, right? But you don't. You think you do. I promise you think you do, but you don't. You don't. Write it down. Write it down, and then you will know yourself better. And then you can start building plans that are meaningful, because then you'll actually know. We're kind of going back to know yourself. It's better tied in here than there, because now you're starting to have that information and use it and build plans that matter. I want detailed plans. Like, I want to catch them on their back foot, but I need to use this right footwork where I step. I'm going to tie my step to my feint, right? And then see what they do. Off of that, I'm looking for their board to move just this much, right? This is what you do in your mind. I'm looking for their board to move just this much. That's all I need, right? Let me tell you another piece. It's usually the second thing that works the best. Feint, finish. You got me? Feint, finish. Right? It's usually the second one. The second one's the best because they know you got them on the first one, and they're really freaked out about the second one, and they overreact way more to the second feint. I mean, you'll see me sometimes mess with me. I'm feinting them like 5-6 times, and their board just flying all over the place, and they're just like. I've had people go, "Oh my God, dude, you could have killed me 6 times, and now you're just I'm dead." That's happened dozens and dozens of times. You want your feints to become that good that people just, they know. But that's this. That's this. Understand? So, when you build your plans, combat computer week, I could talk all about the plans, but the important part we've already talked about. Right? The important part's writing down your stuff, knowing yourself, deciphering your enemy, right? The knowing yourself part, by the way, it'll give you the enemy part. That part will give you that part. When you write down information to know yourself, you'll understand it. Right? That's this part here. I mean, I went over it so hard and stressed out it so much because once you get that, this part will be this part becomes much easier. Without a real sense of self, a real understanding of self, you can't know anyone else anyway. And that's really the problem. Really the problem with people in fighting. And anything else, by the way. Right? They don't take the time to take care of themselves. They don't take the time to get to know themselves. Like really get to know themselves. Really understand themselves. Like, why am I reacting this way? Why am I thinking this way? They go and react that way. They go and think that way. They don't understand why. They don't take the time to ask themselves that question. Why? Right? So when you're fighting, I don't want to get too much true about life. I'm tying it back to fighting. But it matters. It fucking matters in mine too. But it matters in your fighting. Right? Always ask yourself, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And fix it if it needs to be fixed. And if it's good, pat yourself on the back for it. A lot. Celebrate. Way more than you're hard on yourself. Way more than you are hard on yourself. You should celebrate way more. You should definitely want to fix the things. You should definitely understand where your problems are. But you should always celebrate. We're going to be celebrating tonight. You definitely should take the time to do that, right? You sign close to the victories. Those are all awesome. Great. But every day you should be doing that shit. Every day you should be like, oh man, today I got better. Because it's hard becoming good at anything. This is the last piece I'll put with this. People want learning to be this. That's what they want. They're like, I'm practicing, right? I practice every day. So I should be getting better. That's what they want. They want it to be this. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. It's like that sometimes. But they're like, but I'm practicing every day, so I should. But it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you get this, right? Sometimes you get this. But it's even worse than that. Sometimes you get this. That's the thing. Sometimes, not only do you plateau, you backslide some more. Now, that's the grind. You always bounce back better than you were before the backslides, better than you were before the plateaus. You get where you're going. But the journey's not just this. That's the whole thing. So that's why I'm stressing the self-kindness so much. You're 42, I'm 48. They would tell you the same thing, right? They would tell you the exact same thing. I'm telling you right now. The self-kindness. If you heard nothing else I told you today, hear the self-kindness. The self-kindness is the most important thing I told you today. By far. Because the journey, at the end of it all, It's the most important part, and you want to enjoy that shit. I promise you want to enjoy it.
I wanted to throw out there that I try to. It doesn't happen every time, but like every park or event I go to, I try to pick out one thing at the end of the day to be proud of.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel bad because I feel like I'm bragging. I try not to brag. I try to be humble, but at the same time, I'm usually very excited if I did something new or something good that I had aimed to do. You know, to get that achievement, I'm very proud at the end of the day.
You should be proud. You should brag. Do you know that it's an old Native American thing? Not every tribe had it, but some tribes had it where it was a warrior's responsibility after a battle to go to every fire and brag about what they did. It was their responsibility. It was their obligation because it brought the whole tribe's spirits up to do that. Because not everyone went to battle. So when they went to battle, things that they did that were good, they would go to every fire. Then they got fed when they did it, you know, they got taken care of at every fire. But they would go to every lodge, every fire, and brag about what they had accomplished in the battle. It was their responsibility. And you better not fucking lie. You better tell the truth about your accomplishments and your achievements in the battle. But it was your responsibility to go to everyone, to lift everyone's spirits up, right? Like it was your obligation. You were supposed to do that. So, I mean, why wouldn't you do that for yourself? Brag about it, right? Like, no one's gonna. Hey, self-reviews. I said, well, we'll close with this one. Like, self-reviews, right? If you work, a lot of places ask you to do a review about yourself. You should mostly be honest about those things. But I'll tell you what I do every time. 5. And my boss is like, "What's this?" I'm like, well, you're gonna write some number, and I'm like, if I don't think I'm a 5, how the hell are you ever gonna think I'm a 5? Like, I'm a badass. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like, well, how do you justify it? Then I would give him reasons why I thought that. But I'm like, if I don't think I'm super good, I'm not gonna give you any reason to think I'm not super good. Meanwhile, most of the time it means you get like a 3 to 5% raise anyway. It's a waste of. That's a different reason. But you should think that you're a freaking killer all the time. Now, again, optimize, right? But you should think that you're a killer all the time. Always be self-improving, but go through life, like, you know, I'm an optimist at heart. I am. I'm a realist too, right? But you only get one chance. Go around like with the right attitude. Say, take care of yourself. So, anyway.
Cisco, after I told Cisco that I accomplished the mission, Cisco told me, he says, I'm glad you stopped gaslighting yourself. I said, thank you.
Well, we will talk about the conversation that you and I had to, I would say, put a cap on the journey for you, right? Because that's just the nudge you needed. We'll talk about it too.
The Ventrals told me not to sell myself short. So I try not to.
It's a human tendency. It's a human tendency.
It is.
Like, and the weird thing is, it's a human tendency to want to like do it to other people too, right? Like, oh, well, they don't deserve that. They're not. And I tell my son all the time, like, because it's even worse in this generation, I think. I mean, maybe it's getting worse. You know, oh, they're not that good, or why are they this? And I'm like, bro, his journey is his journey. It doesn't matter, like, accolades, he's getting all that. If we're gonna learn from him, right? But awesome that they're out there doing their thing. Otherwise, it's irrelevant to us. Like, we don't have time to shit talk or worry or be concerned. Like, we can learn, or we focus on ourselves, and we can be happy for them otherwise. Why do we need the negativity? We don't. Like, it's not worth it. It's bad medicine, from my people's perspective. Like, bad medicine. But that's it. I hope. I mean, we didn't like pick up foam sticks, but you know, it's all mental game, combat, computer stuff anyway. I tell my team the same thing. You know what I mean? So, questions? I just gave my team the PJ Tucker watch. PJ Tucker played basketball for the University of Texas. Very good player. He got drafted. He got drafted by the Toronto Raptors. Okay, and he averaged about 8 to 10 points a game. Probably played about 6 to 12 minutes for the Raptors in his rookie season. Okay, not bad for a rookie. Then he got cut. By the way, he still plays in the NBA now. He plays for the 76ers. But he got cut. And he was like, why did I get cut? And the coaches brought him in, and they had a season-long film of him, and he was pouting, he was negative on the bench, he was not being part of the huddle, he wasn't, like he was just pouty and negative the whole time. And there was a video of him all season long with basically negative energy. And there's like, PJ, we can't have this negativity in our locker room. It's like a cancer to the team. We can't have it. So they cut him. And then no one in the NBA took him. He went overseas for 5 years and played basketball overseas before he got back in the NBA. And now he's old. He's still in the NBA now, but think about that. Negativity cost him 5 years of an NBA salary just for being negative. That's crazy. I coach AAU basketball as well as high school basketball. I coach both. And I tell my players all the time, recruiters for colleges will go and watch a potential recruit in a game they know they're going to get blown out in. They know that they're going to get blown out in that game because they want to see how do they react to the refs, how do they react to their coaches, how do they react to their teammates in a game that they're going to get blown out in. Can they keep their mental state good? Can they keep their energy positive even when they're getting their asses kicked? I'm telling you, all this shit matters. Like, shit really matters. Like, it's a big deal.
It makes a lot of sense. It's like, Amcar is not a team sport.
No.
So when you fail, it's just, you failed.
Yeah.
Like, the other person was better or you made a mistake, and if you don't process that right, it becomes very, like, you mentioned right there, like, head. And I noticed, like, when I lose, I want to, like, it's kind of like when I tuck in my shell a bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, if you just stay up here and stay where you're comfortable, at least you're giving your best. Like, you're not shorting yourself that way, so you trust yourself. That makes a lot of sense.
Anyway.
One of the things I think that helps me stay positive when I get my ass handed to me is like celebrate the person that's kicking your ass. You know, just be like, wow, that was a good fucking shot. You know, and just like be jacked for them. And that'll pull you out of that bed. Because instead of thinking like, wow, I lost, you just think, hey, they won. You know, and it's just a little mental change for me.
I definitely feel like this. Like, I knew Ben, Tisco, and Banshee when they were like 16.
Yeah.
And they've been my friends this whole time. And then Ben got their Warlord. Tisco first, Ben got it, and then Banshee got it. And I was like, fuck, all my friends are going to be fighting, hang out outside of it. But then we go to talk when we were at Amcar fighting, and I just couldn't have the conversation. I got really mad one day, and I was sitting there in my room, just like waiting. I just tapped my leg really good, like, fuck this. I'm going to go and be able to talk to my friends. So I went outside, got the Pell stand set up, and was out there like, I am this way we will have a conversation that doesn't suck. And it has been very motivating. Like, every time he's like, yes, but we're talking more. This is great.
I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna warm up.
God, I'm so cold.
It's freezing for me.
Yep.